What will Rayleigh's moveset look like? So today we're going to talk about Dark King Rayleigh, or younger Rayleigh, whatever they want to call it, because it is called the Younger Days pack. And after, young Gold Roger, we're talking about quote unquote young Rayleigh. The reason I say quote unquote is because obviously it's Rayleigh in the past, but even so, I believe Rayleigh in this flashback with Odin was still like 50 something. Now obviously in anime terms, I guess that's a young buck because he also has blonde hair. He doesn't have much wrinkles, so I guess he may as well just be 25. But Rayleigh is going to be interesting because Roger has, some stuff to work with, mainly like Conqueror's hockey stuff. But Rayleigh, I think, is a character that, you know, has less. At least that version, really. Rayleigh in that version really only has like one move he did against like Marco, which was like a fingertip like hockey thing, and aside from that we see him like sword swipe a couple times, but we don't really see that version of Rayleigh do much of anything, which is why it's interesting we're getting that design for Rayleigh as opposed to his older version, which that brings into question whether or not we'll get DLC costumes from that DLC pack that'll give us maybe an alternate Gold Roger costume, from when he got executed, or maybe the old Rayleigh costume, the traditional look that we all associate him with, and even a younger Whitebeard or an older Garp, right? Bring back the Garp model. But yeah, let me not waste your time. Let's start off with the one of three segments in these videos. The first segment being, what type is Rayleigh going to be? Now, to me, it's pretty obvious Rayleigh is going to be he's going to be one of two types. And I'm leaning like 95-5 in like terms of like the split, because I think 95% chance he's going to be a speed type. And my reasoning for that is, we all know the infamous scene where he speed blitzes Kizaru and he just flies in, stops Zoro from being killed, kicks the laser away, and he starts fighting Kizaru. And then Kizaru was about to like do the Kagami Mirror, whatever it's called, the Yata no Kagami or whatever, and he was about to teleport, and then Rayleigh also interrupted that. Like, he just cut him like mid-flight and stopped him and told him to keep his attention here. But not only that, obviously in the flashback, I think when Luffy was fighting Katakuri, when, he went into Snake Man, he was thinking about his time when he showed Rayleigh Bound Man. And Rayleigh also just speed blitzed him, and then he also just like completely nullified and dodged like Luffy's Kong organ gun, and was just literally teleporting between hits. So, obviously that's probably a mixture of obviously his observation hockey and his own speed, but regardless, like, he is just going crazy in terms of like speed feats. The only other thing I was thinking about was maybe a technique type, because a technique type, in the game, it usually means someone that is like, like Law, or like characters that have like maybe elements to their attack, or just anything that makes their gameplay not the traditional like sword character, or even, punch character. So, I could see them leaning on the hockey aspect of Rayleigh, because, Rayleigh has a lot of moments with his hockey, specifically armament and observation, where he does like the invisible armor thing when the elephant was about to hit him when he was first showing Luffy, and he basically like blasted the elephant back. And, I could see them maybe making a unique mechanic for Rayleigh in that sense, if they really want to go down that route. But I am leaning that he is going to be a speed type. I don't think he's going to be a technique type. So now let's get into the combos. Now, combo wise, I like to play different characters in the game to get a feel of how the characters that are about to come out might look like. And for me, initially, like you're seeing in the gameplay, I played as Zoro and I was like, okay, he's gonna be a sword type of character, whatever, but Zoro's a power type. So I actually scrolled down all the character lists and I found a sword speed type, and honestly with her, I was like, wow, this is my first time playing as her, by the way. Now the character I'm talking about is Tashigi, actually. Now, I know when I talked about Roger, I was talking about like Odin and, Shanks. And when I talked about Shanks, I was thinking of obviously his previous version, and obviously Odin and stuff like that. Just characters that will have like Conqueror's hockey type of stuff. But when I played as Tashigi, the way she moves, how she speed blitz, like she has these crazy fast slices, she has like this elegance and sword technique that like a character like Zoro, obviously he has technique, but he doesn't like have this like speed and elegance that Tashigi has. And that's how I kind of associate Rayleigh, because Rayleigh, he obviously went toe to toe with Kizaru, the way he fought with obviously Roger against the Whitebeard crew in the flashback and stuff like that, and just his overall nature. I feel like he kind of has this like knight kind of like quality to him. So I do think like he could have this like elegant like sword type of technique with him. The only reason I didn't mention him maybe playing like Odin or something like that is because I don't think there has been a single point that we have seen Rayleigh use Conqueror's infused attacks. I feel like everything we've seen of him has either been like maybe Ryo, if you want to argue that, when he stopped Marco, but you know, he's used basically armament haki the entire time. And obviously I know he has Conqueror's haki, and I'm sure he knows how to infuse it, maybe, but you know, every time we see him, I feel like most of his attacks are based on just pure armament haki and just his own like ascension and advanced level of that technique, to the point where he is obviously a demon, a monster with a sword. But you can argue that Zoro is obviously supposed to be like, you know, the right hand man, much like Rayleigh. So you can argue if Zoro can infuse his attacks with the King of Hell stuff with Conquerors, and one can assume Rayleigh could do the same. So I wouldn't be surprised if they give him, you know, Conquerors infused type of stuff for his blade. But honestly, I would prefer it if they give him more of a blue hue. And the reason I say that is because shout out to MZO, who basically plays this game called Fighting Path. Now the link for the video will be down in the description, but he played as Rayleigh in this game, and in the gameplay that you're seeing, like, Rayleigh is just honestly a demon. The way he moves, the way he attacks, how fast he attacks, and they even included the animation when he stopped Kizaru in here, which we'll get into when we talk about special attacks. But Rayleigh is insanely fast in this like game, and the way the combos look. And honestly, I would like if this is how they approach it for Pirate Warriors, like him basically kind of like leaving like blur trails and blue, this kind of blue hue, because honestly it'd be kind of like tiresome and repetitive if every character in the Younger Days pack just has the Conquerors, you know, black and you know, and red lightning, because we're gonna get it with Shanks, we're gonna get it with Roger, we might get it with Garp because obviously he has Conquerors infused as well. But I would like, you know, different colorations at least for the game and make it a little bit more visually interesting, but we'll see if they do that at all. But no, yeah, I think the combo system for him is going to be very similar to, I think, Tashigi, and obviously a mix of Zoro, because, you know, obviously he uses a sword, but he also throws hands, like the one he just punched the hell out of like Gear 4 Luffy and just started comboing him as well. Yeah, I could see that in his combos. Obviously he's going to use a sword, obviously he's going to look younger, but there's no way they're not going to include stuff from when he's older, obviously like when he knows Luffy and Shaboni and all that stuff. So yeah, I do think he's going to be pretty cool. I think he might have some speed blitzing like Tashigi, and even in the Fighting Path gameplay, I do think he's probably going to launch more Getsu Tensho's, but I think hopefully they're going to look blue like in the Fighting Path game. And I do think his air combo game might be, again, similar to Tashigi, where he might not have much in the air, but I do think they, as a character that people are probably waiting for, and they know how kind of hype Rayleigh is, I do think they're gonna like lean towards giving him a air combo type of game like they did with Zoro. You know, Zoro can do a lot of stuff in the air too, so I do think he's gonna look like a mixture of both of these characters. Now let's move on to specials. Now, again, the first special that I can get out their way is obviously going to be, I know, surprise, surprise, Conqueror's Haki. We're going to get another Conqueror's Haki user. It's going to be one of the 8 special attacks, you know, that every character gets. But, you know, I feel like he's obviously going to have Conqueror's Haki. I think another special, which might be like a level 4, I don't know how they would implement it, or whether or not this would be part of the combos and part of his super attack. But the combo where he is, you know, where he basically flies in and then he kicks Kizaru's laser away. I could see them doing that like as a, you know, he flies in, he does the kick or whatever, and then he like does like a shockwave that goes forward, clearing out whatever's in front of it. You know, simple special attack, but I could also see that being part of the actual like combo. But then again, it could be both, because there are times where, again, Luffy's a good example where they have the special move, and then they also have that same special move inside of his combos already. Now, I would like to see this as a special move, but I don't know how they would implement it, whether or not they would do something like they did with, you know, with Sabo, where he has the dragon's breath. But obviously the finger point that he used to stop Marco, I wonder if that's going to be a special move or somehow part of the, you know, normal combos where he, you know, you do a combo string and then he ends it with that, and he just, I don't know, pokes you and then does a little shockwave flick or something, like the way he flicked Luffy when he first like started teaching him. But it'd be pretty funny if they have like this like he points to the ground, you know, points at you, touches the ground maybe, and like does like a huge shockwave or something. Or, you know, it could be just part of his combos and we might not see it as a special, but I would like to see it as a special because that moment was really, really cool. I think another special attack, which you probably see in the actual like Tashigi gameplay that I recorded, it's pretty much, I feel like we're gonna get something on this kind of like variation of like a, you know, him like doing basically like a flurry of sword slashes where he basically disappears and maybe reappears at the end, kind of like Tashigi. I do think that's gonna be something similar. Now in One Piece Bounty Rush, they do have this like one move where, you know, he basically like launches forward and then he does like a sword like swipe, but it's like a, like it sends like a shockwave in a circle around him. So it's, I don't know, that could be a pretty cool, you know, attack that they can add, especially because it's from Bounty Rush, and you know, I guess they could just, I guess, implement that into his, you know, kit as well. The fifth special attack that I have in mind is obviously a, you know, a version of him doing this crazy like, you know, sword slashes or something. Like obviously he'll do like maybe some like Mihawk type of thing where he'll do like, you know, blue kind of air wave attacks and then does like a flurry of them, and then, you know, I don't know, ends off with a giant one. I think that could be pretty cool. Again, I just honestly, weirdly enough, adding him like and giving him a different color like blue would honestly be really, really cool. Another special attack that I can think of is, you know, when he has like these little like cannonballs that he like flicks with his thumb, and he can launch like a flurry of those, and you know, kind of like similar to Shanks' special in, you know, the base Shanks that we have in the game already, where he takes out his own gun and just like shoots a bunch. We could see Rayleigh having something like that could either be part of his combo or just a super attack or both. But I do think they'll probably give him something like that we do see him do like in the anime. I think that'd be pretty fun and pretty cool. Now the last special attack that I can think of is potentially another version of the fly-in attack that you see here from Fighting Path. Now, they honestly could just, you know, circumvent the first one that I talked about and just say like, you know, it's not gonna be just a kick, and maybe they could do something like this where in Fighting Path he does the kick, launches you, but then he also does like all these sword swipe attacks. So I think they could do it this way instead and just have it be like that. So I do think that they could just take a lot of inspiration from this Fighting Path game, because the animations are really cool, a lot of the movement and just a lot of the actual fighting from this Rayleigh. I feel like it benefits and fits really well with Pirate Warriors 4. But yeah, that's all I can think of when it comes to the speculation of Rayleigh. He is a cool ass character. I'm finally, you know, excited to think about that we can actually play as Rayleigh, because he's obviously a fan favorite. He looks really cool, the Dark King himself. He has very cool sword attacks, and like I said, I think Fighting Path has a good like replication of what his powers could look like, and we mix that with the Tashigi gameplay, and I do think we'll probably get something pretty fun, pretty interesting. I know there's a lot of sword type characters that are really cool in the game. You have characters like Mihawk, obviously Zoro, you know, you have Oden, you're gonna get Shanks, Roger. There's a lot of sword type of characters you like coming, but then again, a lot of characters just in general in One Piece use swords or a type of weapon, so not too surprising. But yeah, let me know what you all think about the potential like that Rayleigh has to be as a character in Pirate Warriors 4. I think he could be really fun, really cool. Again, my one hope is that I hope they change his like, you know, attacks to be blue. Not like it's like a crazy ass, and not like they can't do it or like refuse to, but I just hope if they're gonna do Conqueror stuff with it, you know, just have maybe some Conqueror's attacks be the, you know, the red and black, and then just leave his overall moveset to be like just more like base sword, because I feel like he leans more towards the armament hockey and even observation hockey side of the spectrum when it comes to the three. I do hope we get to see that type of, you know, gameplay from Rayleigh. But let me know what you all think in the comment section down below, what you think of my video about Rayleigh. Am I missing? Do you think I missed something with him? Do you think he's gonna look like the way he does in Fighting Path mixed with Tashigi? Let me know in the comment section down below. And or what would you like to see when it comes to Rayleigh? Would you like to obviously see the iconic finger point and stuff like that? Would you like to see his old man costume? Because I would like to see a costume pack for each of these DLC packs, which we'll get into in a separate video. But yeah, I hope that you all enjoyed. Make sure you guys subscribe and leave a like if you enjoyed, because we're so close to 4K subs. We're about a little bit over 150 away to 4K. So I would appreciate you all if you subbed. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.